Hello, Internet, your friendly neighborhood gremlin here, and on this, the 5th day of Halloweek, we are going to build a haunted house on a hill, which I have very creatively called Hill House. It is not like exactly what I wanted, but I do feel like the compromises I had to make still turned out well. I think it's kind of cute. I was supposed to go and download more like haunted paintings, but if we let me go on the internet, y'all would have a video today. We did try the in-game search, but trying to guess exactly what someone has titled something is very difficult for me. I found one painting that I kind of liked. Also, we have the girl from yesterday, so anyway, turned out fine. I did keep both builds very small. This one's a 6x8, and upstairs we have just like a 6x6, I'm pretty sure, which seems wrong for like a giant mansion, but we are pretending that these are the 2 rooms that you have access to, and everything else is just too dangerous to get into. We have like a fake balcony. We'll talk about it when we get there. You're gonna need a little bit of imagination for the balcony too. And of course, the hardest parts of builds like these are trying to fill an abandoned house with furniture that looks exactly brand new, because it's Animal Crossing and they don't even have like a well-worn couch or something, which is something I would really like. If anyone were taking suggestions, I'd ask for a well-worn couch. I also have like 0 explanation for those leaf fires, but I also really liked them, and so here they are. This corner looked like the perfect place for a mushroom lamp, and it looked like it would have fit in that space, but it didn't, and then I was so set on the mushroom lamp, we just moved the piano and added another armchair. So the living room is very uncentered. Oh, and we have a dead body. No explanations. He's gonna hang out in front of the couch. It's great. And of course the giant vine in the middle of the room. But I do believe that is the end of the questionable decisions I've made downstairs. So because nobody objected, I'm going to tell y'all the story of Hill House. Our story begins in 1905, when a young family finds an extremely grand house at an absurdly low price. And of course, as anyone would, they excitedly put an offer in on the house, and it really is the perfect property for them. They may only be 3 now, but this house offers room to grow, which means it could be their forever home. So, of course, they move in, but it's important to remember, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. They've not even been in the house a week before the wife begins to feel unsettled. It feels like someone's watching her, or there are cold spots in the room. Things aren't quite where she left them. And she swears she can hear children laughing, and yet she has only the one, an adorably sweet little 7-year-old girl. But when she brings these concerns to her husband, he has explanations. The house is old, the heating is a little bit uneven. There are children in the neighborhood. It's perfectly natural to feel uneasy in a new house, especially one as old as this one. And he lives here too. His wife, however, was not so easily placated, and so she began to dig into the background of the house. She learns that what used to stand on her property was a home for wayward boys that burned down. 2 boys had killed the owner and his wife in bed while they slept, and then set the place ablaze. But that was over 100 years ago. The house had been rebuilt and turned into a family home. Though, as she talked to the neighbors, she found out no family stayed in that house for very long, which explains why it was so cheap. All the locals knew to stay away. So, as her unease grew, she tried to talk herself out of it. She was just being silly. Ghosts aren't real. And it was the perfect home. It was their perfect home. She only felt more scared because she'd worked herself up with all the stories that she'd read. It was going to be fine, she promised herself. But unbeknownst to her, her daughter was also starting to feel scared of the house. She'd awake to noises in the middle of the night, and she would swear that she could see a little boy sometimes, just down the hall. Then, one night, the little girl woke up to the smell of smoke. Scared, she rushed to her parents' room. But, to her horror, what she found was her father, laying in a pool of blood, with a pair of scissors sticking out of his neck, and 2 little boys standing over her mother, strangling her and laughing. Terrified and traumatized, she ran, banging desperately on the door of her neighbors. She was entirely incoherent. Fire, parents, boys, dead, blood. The woman tried to console her, while her husband ran quickly next door. But when he arrived at the house, he found no trace of a fire. Confused, he entered through the door the girl had left open, and he began calling for his neighbors, but he received no response. And so he went upstairs. It didn't take him long to come upon the crime scene, and he too fled the house, though he ran to the police station. But by the time the police had arrived, the girl, entirely unable to handle what she had just witnessed, had gone completely mute, and while she was eventually able to provide a written report, the police could not believe what it said. The fire that she kept insisting upon didn't happen, and they could find no trace of 2 little boys. There was no evidence to suggest that anybody except the family had been in the house. Of course, ghosts didn't kill people. Ghosts weren't real. And so they came to the only conclusion that they could. That adorably sweet little girl had killed her parents, but she was obviously not well. She either believed the tale she was telling, or she was trying to cover her tracks. But she would spend the rest of her life in an asylum for the criminally insane. And it is said, to this day, anyone who stays overnight in the house will meet those 2 little boys. Not that they'll be alive to tell you about it, of course. You can find the original story linked down below. Though, to be fair, I have changed some details just to make it more of an urban legend rather than a story that may plausibly be true. Though, of course, there's no evidence of it, which I talk about in the post. But also, let me know what you think. This wouldn't be something I would do every video, of course. It's the kind of thing that wouldn't happen unless it was relevant to the build. But I have managed to bring you to the reveal. I didn't dress Pierce up this time, mostly because I find the Eagles very hard, and also he wasn't relevant to the build. He wanted a fancy gym. But if you've liked the build, or you just had a good time hanging out with me, you could hit the like button. You could leave me a comment down below, maybe about your favorite urban legend, or how you feel about me sometimes occasionally telling stories, or really anything at all. And of course, if you think you might like to do this again sometime, you could hit the subscribe button. But I will see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye!